those books changed my life completely because it taught me how to think like an investor, like a rich person, and it got me away from poverty mentality.
I'm George Markowski and welcome to the Positive Property Show. Our mission is to empower 10,000 people to create financial freedom through property using the Markowski method. Join us.
Hello, freedom fighters, and welcome to our Thursday Night Live. And I'd like to welcome Charmaine Adams. How are you, Charmaine?
Yeah, really good. Hi, everyone. Hi, freedom fighters. It's great to be back here on a Thursday.
Yep. We're a little bit early, so I can see people are still logging on. While we're logging on, if you can see us, hear us, type in hashtag live. And obviously, if you're watching the replay, type in hashtag replay just so we know that you're watching. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Charmaine. Charmaine's actually been around for a while now because she started off as a client of ours.
Yes,
and now, she started working in the business about a year ago.
Yep. Or a year and a half ago.
Yep. And now Charmaine is one of our property coaches. So Congratulations and well done. That's fantastic.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
It's exciting to have you on board as a property coach. It's great. And look, the one thing that what I love about our coaches is our coaches are property investors and done it themselves, which is very, very important. And I think it's important. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that have got lots of questions, and please go ahead because we're going to be checking out the questions. But you found out about positive property through a friend of yours, Belinda, correct?
Through mutual friends. So when we purchased our first property, we realized that if we wanted to be successful in property investing, we really needed to make sure that we had a coach and a mentor. And we looked around, we searched a few areas, a few different companies, but I had to get really clear on what I was looking for. So I had a little note to self, so that I wanted a company that had integrity, that runs on the board, a whole list of things that I was looking for in a mentor and a coach. And no one really kind of sat with us. I always go with my gut instinct. And then as first would prevail, I actually met Belinda, one of our coaches here, through mutual friends. Through that exchange, I mentioned to her our interest in property investing, and sure enough, she's like, well, that's what we do. And that's how I got started.
Fantastic. That's awesome. And look, I think what a lot of people don't realize, and I don't believe in coincidence. I don't think there's such thing as coincidence, and I do really believe, I don't know if you've seen The Secret, where they talk about how you manifest your goals and your dreams and all that. And look, I'm not into the airy fairy stuff of just sitting here and manifesting, because you need to actually get off your ass and do something.
Correct.
But step one is manifesting. Step two is realizing when you have an opportunity. The funny thing is, most people miss the first two biggest opportunities in their life. 98% of people miss the first two biggest opportunities of their lifetime, statistically. And then you only got 2% that actually end up grabbing hold of that opportunity because they notice it's an opportunity. A lot of people don't realize when they see one. They don't know when they've manifested something or when they need to go and do something and get off their ass. And it's hard because, people need to get out of their comfort zone for one, but also, notice when they're manifesting something. Because at the end of the day, I know from a young age, I really, wanted to create the life that I wanted to. And I knew I couldn't do it alone. And funny enough, I was trying to manifest this whole, how am I going to do this? But I had no idea. And I was fortunate. I went to a bookstore and I found two of my favorite books. One is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Great book.
And number two is Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Mm-hmm.
And those books changed my life completely.
Yeah.
Because it taught me how to think like an investor, like a rich person, and it got me away from poverty mentality.
Mm-hmm.
See, my parents are immigrants. My father grew up after World War II, and their whole way of thinking was very different. Their whole way of thinking was go to uni, study, get a job, work really hard, and save.
If you got the part about get married and the 2.4 kids.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that
and
part.
the white picket fence.
Right. And the thing is, the point is, that's great for back in the 1940s, early 1900s, when just staying alive and being able to feed your family was what do you call it, something good.
Yeah.
Times have changed now, right? And the fact of it is, you cannot save yourself to wealth.
No.
No one's ever done it. It's impossible. Because a thing called leverage that you need leverage.
Yeah.
You need leverage when it comes to your money. You need leverage when it comes to your thinking, as in circle of safety and the right mindset of people around you that can push you up and buoy you up. Because if you hang out with people that are negative about stuff and people that aren't going to support your goals and your dreams, it's going to be hard for you to rise higher. You know what I mean? You need people that are going to push you higher. But also, if you find a book like Think and Grow Rich or Freedom Through Property or Rich Dad Poor Dad, take it as a sign and learn it. If you're watching this right now, maybe, I don't believe in coincidences, maybe you were meant to be watching this and this is a wake-up call. You know what I mean? Because at the moment, the property market, if you look at a clock, the 12 o'clock's the peak, 6 at the bottom. And at the moment, we're investing in Brisbane, just so you know. And at the moment, Brisbane's gone up to 8 o'clock. Still got a bit of time, but it's soon to be over there, and then we're going to have to move places. So people need to get in. We've got, it's amazing stuff happening at the moment. Now, I don't know if you remember back in 2014, this is stretching everyone's memory, but I don't know if anyone else in the audience remembers what happened in 2014, but 2014 was the Great Australian Mining Boom.
Yes, that's right.
And that was amazing. I mean, I know what happened with my property. I bought a property in Perth and it doubled in 2 years. Went from 220 to 500 in 2 years. And you might be wondering why we're talking about the mining boom. Well, I'll tell you why I'm talking about the mining boom. Because at the moment, Australia's trade surplus has hit a record. Right? Now, I don't know if you know what a trade surplus is.
No, I don't. I'd like a bit of an insight there, George.
I'm going to give everyone a little bit of background. So what happens is, as a country, what happens is we buy stuff from other countries. Like, for example, you go on eBay, buy something, usually comes from China, right? That means we're sending China money. So that's a trade deficit. Then China buys some iron ore, give us money, we get money back. It's a trade positive. So at the end of the year, what happens is you go, okay, how much money did you spend? It's like a household. See, budgeting for a business or a country is a bit like budgeting for a household, right? So what happens is if you make $2,000 a month and you spend $2,200 a month, you're in a trade deficit. You're losing money every month, right?
Right.
But if you're earning $5,000 a month and only spending $2,000, you're in a trade surplus. Now, most countries run at a deficit, right? That's just the way it is. But luckily, we live in Australia, which is a lucky country, and we actually run at a surplus. So we're making a profit every month, right? And especially now because commodity prices have gone up, right? So our trade surplus at the moment has climbed to $12 billion.
Wow.
Right? That's huge.
It is huge.
Well, a lot of people talk about how we're having a bit of a war with China, trade war. Well, China's increased the amount of money they spend with us over it's climbed 72%. It's nearly doubled.
Whoa.
Right? Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing.
Right? And the thing is, I mean, they're hooked on Australian coal because they can't change because it's a different type of grade. So if they change, they're going to have to shut down their power plants, retool everything, change everything before they can use another country's coal.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so it's not that easy. So, and a lot of other countries are willing to step in and buy it anyway if we don't sell it to them.
Yeah.
So Australia at the moment, we are actually the richest country in the world, people-wise, but also now we've got a massive surplus trade, which is amazing. And that money is getting kicked in and going to the mining companies, to the miners, because back in 2014, during the mining boom, huge commodity demand out of trying to create the massive payday for our miners, right? Mm-hmm. And that went through everywhere. You know what I mean? It went through tax because they were paying more tax, they were getting paid more money, people going in the mining, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And then what happened? And then guess what happened? In the end, as it always does, that money found its way into real estate.
Yep.
and it was a housing boom. And the property price in Perth, the median house price in Perth, was only $1,000 per square metre different to the median house price in Sydney.
Oh, wow.
Right? How amazing is that?
That's pretty amazing.
Yep. So, I'm going to call this the mining boom 2.0. Because currently what's happening is the world can't get enough commodities and can't get enough. There's a big mass. Right now the world's in the grip of an epic energy crisis. That's what they're calling it, right? So energy prices have just gone through the roof. And for us, because we're a commodity exporter, it's actually fantastic news. So, companies like Woodside and Santos, people in Adelaide know about Santos. Santos they've gone up 80%. Their profits got up 80%.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yep. Yeah, so there you go. So it's amazing when you think about it. So there's a huge commodity boom happening at the moment. We've got a massive trade surplus in Australia. Property prices have gone, despite COVID, have gone up.
That's right.
And now what's happening is there's one area where property prices have gone down. And that's there's certain suburbs that are lower socioeconomic suburbs that haven't done anything, but also inside the capital cities, units have gone down. Right.
So are you meaning units as in like freestanding units? Because in Melbourne we call units freestanding, or are you talking as in apartments?
Apartments.
Yeah. You just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, sorry, because we've got different languaging, yes.
Correct, yeah.
A bit like when I was in America, you know what I mean? I was in America on a conference and I was there with some Aussies and a couple of Aussies there. I don't smoke, but a couple of Aussies, they're like, oh, we're going to go outside and suck on a fag. And in America, that means something very different to what it means in Australia. And then, when it comes to thongs, we wear them on our feet. They don't wear them on their feet.
So I just want to clarify, are we talking units or apartments? Because in Melbourne, we call units apartments.
No, apartments. That's what they are, yes. So with apartments. But what's happening is, the COVID situation, we've still been locked out from everywhere. Business has been bad. And a lot of business has been closed for a long time, but the economy is still roaring ahead like crazy. Now, pretty soon, all our international students are going to be coming back very soon.
Yeah, that's right, because the borders are opening up soon.
And then all the migration's coming back. And that's going to put pressure on property even more, on top of what it was already.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think it's been bad, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah.
Right? And especially all those people moving to Queensland at the moment. A lot of families moving to Queensland.
A lot are moving to Queensland, not just for the lockdown, but because of all the infrastructure that's happening there and the new job opportunities that are opening up as well.
Well, hello. I mean, over there, if you're in the building game, if you're into concreting or bricklaying or anything else like that, if you're into building, carpentry, anything, if you go to Queensland, you're going to get paid a lot more money because there's so much competition. They got to build $5 billion worth of infrastructure just for the Olympics. Which is going to happen. They're going to start building now. They can't wait. That's right. Between the developers and as you saw the conversation we had last week with that big builder in Queensland, I mean, they're paying way more for lots of stuff now. And this is the deal. The thing is, I really think it's almost like if you were in the 70s, if you had a magic
crystal ball
time machine and you could go back to the 70s and you could buy property, how many would you buy?
A lot. As many as I could under my belt.
Exactly.
Prices back then.
And I really think it's almost like we've got a DeLorean and we are back in time when it comes to Australia's economic future. And I think at the moment it's pretty amazing. And it is a bit like Back to the Future. But let's talk about your investing journey, because you've got 3 properties now.
Correct, right?
Yep. And you had one when you started with us.
Correct.
And then you joined Positive Property and you got yourself a townhouse.
Correct, yep.
And how long have you had that for?
I've had that townhouse for just over a year now. So we settled last year in August, and now
Yep.
it's we're in October, coming up to November. So yeah, just over a year.
Over a year. And how much did you pay for that?
We paid $419 at the time.
419. And what was the cash flow on that?
Sorry, the cash flow.
Yeah, cash flow.
Positively geared 128 a week.
Wow. So you bought a property and it was making money from day one.
Correct. Yeah, we
How,
were super excited.
how long did it take you to rent out?
It was with 5 days. So we
5 days.
before we even settled, our property manager already had a list of tenants, and she had someone sign all the contracts and details before settlement and moved in 5 days after settlement.
Fantastic. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was very quick.
And the good part is, 5 days, you had the property for 5 days, you rented it, you're making a profit every week. So it's costing you nothing.
That's right.
And then now it's probably worth 540 or 550.
Yeah.
So you've made probably
yeah.
Yes, you've made over $100,000
yeah.
on an asset that's been paying you every week.
Correct. And we had instant equity as well. So when we settled, we already had instant equity, I think, of about 20 or 30,000 at the time as well.
Yes. Because what happened was, because we're a buyers group, a lot of times what we'll do is if developers have got a bunch of townhouses, we'll get the whole lot and negotiate a deal. And when I negotiated Capalaba, I was like, wow, these are cheap.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, every time people cancel contracts, they'll push the prices up. Like they were selling them for 440, 450 at the same time. Anything that we didn't grab, but I tried to grab everything we could for our customers, which I always try to do.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of times they say you can't have your cake and eat it too, and I feel like with property you can almost.
Oh, absolutely, you certainly can. I'm a big believer in you can have your cake and eat it too. So if there's something I want, if I have the right mindset and a little bit of manifesting in the mix, I've been able to achieve so much with that mindset and the right community and people around you, because you do need to have the right support network around you, people that believe in you, that are positive, they're on the same page, because it really does make the difference.
Absolutely, and I think that's what we're trying to build here at Positive Property, at the Australian Property Chat, is a community of like-minded investors where we can support each other. You know what I mean? Whether you're on our program or not, if you're in our free group here, I want to give you as much support as I can. You know what I mean? We can't help everyone anyway. I mean, our overarching goal and our unstoppable mission is to, empower 10,000 Australians to create wealth through investing in property. But I'd like to impact more than that. I want, anyone that doesn't is crazy. You know what I mean? I think they should really do it.
Yeah, and it makes a difference, because when we bought that property, we bought it back in 2020. We're from Melbourne, so we were in the mix of lockdowns. And so, some of our friends and family, they were like telling us, don't buy in property. It's not the right time. Users said the property market's going to crash. You won't be able to get tenants. What if? And I had so many, naysayers, but being part of Positive Property and the community there, and obviously with yourself, George, and my coach, Belinda as well, that kept saying, no, this is the right time. We need to look at the numbers and keep matter of fact. And look, we had great success from it. If we had listened to the naysayers, we wouldn't be in the position that we are today.
Absolutely. And look, there's always going to be people saying, don't do it.
Correct.
And from a very young age, from when I started my first business to when I bought my first property, I always had a bunch of people around me saying, oh, too risky, don't start your own business, don't buy your own property and all that. And look, investing in property has changed my life completely, utterly.
Yeah.
Like, seriously has. And for the better, right? Because look, at the end of the day, I've been off work for 2 months now. So I've had a sore neck and I've been lying on my back, and you know what? I've been very fortunate that my properties make me money, whether I'm lying on my back or I'm sitting up and talking, whatever I'm doing, it doesn't make a difference. And it takes the pressure off, because surely if I had a 9-to-5 job and I didn't have income coming in, that would have been stressful. But it's not as stressful when you've got that income coming in.
That's right, that passive income, the money that you're making while you're sleeping, you're not trading time for dollars.
Yep, and I seriously believe that I would rather make $1,000 passive than 2,000 active.
Yeah,
because the passive money is real money that you don't have to put effort in. That's the money you can spend and blow it, and you don't feel bad about it. Seriously, when you work hard for your money, I don't want to spend that money. I want to save that money. I want to invest that money. You know what I mean? Seriously, I
Oh,
do.
it's true. I mean, growing up as a kid, my father all the time, I worked hard for that money, Charmaine. You need to do something really good with it. It's that little bit.
Exactly. And that's
The
always been
undertone.
my philosophy. I've always, money I've worked hard for, I always want to invest or save it and really do something good with it.
Yeah.
But the money I get for free out of my investments, they keep coming back every week. I don't care about that money because it doesn't matter. Really.
That's right.
Which is a good way to be, which is great. So manifestation.
Mm.
Tell me about manifestation. How do people manifest what they want in their life? What do that people do?
Yeah, look, in manifestation, it used to be a big, woohoo, airy fairy word a lot of people used. But over the last 5-10 years, there's been a lot more science to back it, particularly when it comes to quantum mechanics and quantum science, where, they talk about everything is energy. Our thoughts are energy. Our body is energy. So when it comes to manifestation, it's about putting some kind of an intention, so some kind of a thought, some positive thought or desire that you're wanting to attract, or you've heard of the law of attraction. What you put out there is what you get back. So with our first property, I mean, my partner and I, we're big on manifesting, and we started off with being really clear with what we wanted. We wanted to buy a property. We had a goal. We wanted to buy a property by the end of the year. We started, we did the right things. Like, we didn't make it too airy-fairy. We had like a budget. We had a savings plan. We knew exactly how much. And according to our savings plan, we thought, okay, by June of this year, we'll be in a position to buy our first property. But unfortunately, life gets in the way, and budget slide, and we get to June, and we're like, oh, okay, I'm not really sure if we're going to make it, but we'll stretch it to the end of the year. And we didn't have a great deposit, but we had the mindset and the belief that we already had this property. So rather than seeing it as something outside of us, we just kept believing we already had it. We started looking on realestate.com, looking at properties, getting an idea of where we wanted, what we wanted to buy, what looked great, areas and so forth. We started going to auctions. We started going to open, house inspections, even though we didn't quite have the right deposit. I also meditate. So part of my meditation was I was visualizing the property, visualizing my, investment. And look, when we bought our first property, we fell in love with the property, and we just had this really positive feeling like this was the right property for us. And we signed the contracts, obviously subject to finance, so we were protected, but without having a full deposit to be able to cover the actual the cost of the loan. But because we'd spent so much time that year really focused on positive thinking, taking action, believing that we had the property, believing we had a certain time frame, that when push came to shove, Federal Reserve's parents ended up going guarantor on the loan, so we actually got it over the line. So we kind of faked it until we made it.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, it was amazing. And it was actually, we got the property on the 29th of December. So we literally had a couple of days before the end of the year. Because at the beginning of the year, we had our goal, and that was by the end of this year, we're going to have our first property. And we had a couple of days before the end of the year, we actually made that happen.
Yep. Wow. Well done. That's fantastic. That's excellent.
Yeah.
And look, that's pretty inspiring, because I think manifesting and just doing whatever it takes to get your goals is so important.
100%. Yeah, you've got to have the vision. You've got to have the passion. You've got to be positive. We could have given up when we didn't have our deposit by June, because, we're meant to have a certain amount of savings. But my partner and I were like, no, look, we're just going to keep believing we've already got the money. So we were in the belief system that we already had enough of a deposit, even though our bank statement didn't necessarily reflect that. But we didn't allow that to kind of, we didn't allow it to kind of get us down. We just kept moving forward. Most importantly, though, we were taking action, and that was going to those open house inspections, going to auctions. That's all part of building the momentum and being part of that energy and getting that momentum going, so that we had the outcome that we desired most. And it was a very similar experience with our second property, because we said that by this time next year, we want to have our first investment. We want to have our second investment property. So, when we got to the second year, and that's when I also became a member of Positive Property. We weren't sure that we were going to be able to do that. And a few people were saying, oh, you won't have enough equity. You can't do it. You've only just bought one property. You have to wait a few years before you can buy your second property. But my partner and I were like, no, we were determined that we were going to buy one property every year. That was our goal.
Love it.
And then sure enough, we had enough capital growth in our first property to be able to purchase our second property, which was Capella Bar. When we signed the contracts for that one again, we found out that we needed a buffer of about $20,000 because we need a little bit more on top of our equity. And my partner and I were like, okay, let's make this happen. We didn't know how we were going to get that $20,000, but we were prepared to do whatever it took to get it over the line. So we were hustling. And it was so funny because we found out that Federico had money in long service leave that he was able to draw down, and that was the exact amount that we needed to cover the shortfall of our deposit, and we got our second investment property.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Yeah. So look, it just shows that if you have intentions, the difference it makes. You know what I mean? If you said it right. And I mean, they did a study about Harvard Business School. And what they did is they studied how many people have written goals.
Yeah.
And only 3% of people from Harvard had written goals.
Oh,
They
wow.
came, and then they came 20 years later, interviewed them, and they discovered that the 3% that had written goals had more money than all the other 97% put together.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
If it's not written, it's not real.
Yep.
And
Someone
it's
said, love you
important.
guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I love that.
Yeah.
Yep. So look, guys, if you've got any other questions for Charmaine, please bring it on.
Yeah.
Because in 10 minutes, we're going to be going to our Sherp session with our Black Belt members. But yes, so it's interesting about Mining Boom 2.0, which is about to hit us, which should be very interesting.
Exciting.
It is, because the mining boom really pushed up prices in Perth, Adelaide, and Brisbane last time. And I think it's going to do the same thing this time around as well. Definitely.
Let me just see if there's any comments.
So, hello, Christina. So, someone said, thanks, guys. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
You're very welcome.
Thank
Definitely,
you.
definitely. So the thing is, my birthday's coming up next month. Very soon. Next week, actually.
I know. You were last birthday. It was lockdown for you, wasn't it, George?
Still locked down because we're masks. We can't have more than 10 people inside the house.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. Having your birthday in jail is not as bad as I thought it would be.
We've got a question here, George. Which area you have properties now to offer?
Yes, good question. Unfortunately, if I told you that, I'd have to kill you. Because, look, thanks for the question. What we do is at the moment, with properties, it's very hard to get properties. We're getting a lot of properties off market.
Yeah.
So, you know when you go to your real estate porn, like realestate.com.au and Domain, I call that real estate porn because it's not real. It's a lot of the stuff is not real anyway, but two, a lot of it's retail that other people don't want to buy. What we do is we go direct to developers and get direct. And we've already got 20 or 30 clients waiting in line. So to get access, then you need to do that. Now, I've got a good question here.
How did the banks look at your deposit for the second property? In other words, how much deposit did you need and what was the price of the property? Hope that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay, so with the second property, we actually took out equity from our first property. So the purchase price of our property was $419,000. We had $170,000 worth of equity in our first property. But by memory, you can only take out 40% of that as equity.
You can take 80 actually.
Or 80%?
Up to.
Up to 80%.
Depending on the bank.
Correct. So we drew out $40,000 equity out of our first property, which meant that we only had a $20,000 difference that we needed to come up with in cash to be able to get the second property.
Yeah. And you did it, which is great.
We
And
did
now
it,
you
correct.
and now you got your third property. Because what
Correct.
happens is the deal is what happens is the hardest thing you can do seriously is buying an owner occupier because you're not getting any help and it's negative. But your first property, whether it's owner occupier or investment, is the hardest one.
Yeah.
Really hard because you've got to either get your parents to go guarantor or get a deposit or sell some toys or get a personal loan. I know people that have gotten a personal loan and then use that personal loan as a deposit.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. Yeah,
Right.
Some people do whatever it takes just to get a foot in the door, because once the foot's in the door, that's when it starts getting easier because you start to have leverage that you can work with.
That's right. And if you do it right, if you buy in the right area, you're going to get capital growth, which is great. But then
Correct.
you structure it right. And this is the key. So as you heard, Charmaine's property was making $120 a week.
Yeah.
Now, that was because, one, we chose the right property, but two, we structured it the right way. We call this positive cash flow property, but it's not positive gearing.
No.
It's bad. See,
Cash
the deal is, most people have heard of positive gearing and people have heard of negative gearing. And negative gearing sucks because you lose money every week. And if you can't make a profit by losing money every week. Trust me, you just can't do it.
And you're not safe because you haven't got that cash flow to keep you safe.
That's right. But positive gearing is no good either, because if you're getting a positive return, that means that the property is not worth a lot of money and people aren't willing to bid more money to get it. And because of that, you're not going to get capital growth.
You need a little bit of both.
That's right. You need positive cash flow, negative gearing, so you get high growth and positive cash flow at the same time.
That's right.
That's exactly what you did. And that's why you
Correct.
can really go further, because now you've got 3 properties that are all going up. Because
Correct.
the property market is a bit like a harbour. Imagine a harbour, right? And there's high tide and low tide. So if you've got a boat in a harbour and high tide comes, what happens to your boat? It rises, right?
Woo!
You've got 3 boats. What's going to happen?
It's going to
Three
go.
of them will rise. So the more properties you've got, the more boats you've got in that harbour, when the high tide comes, the better.
Correct.
And
And
that's
I
the
mean,
key.
and that's the benefit of buying in the high growth areas. Because we bought in a high growth area, we've got enough equity in our second property again to continue to buy a property every year.
That's right. And that's the beauty of it, because what you do is you go to a harbour where there hasn't been a high tide recently, because you know it's going to come. You don't want to go to a harbour, there's already been a high tide. A lot of people are like, oh, let's go buy in Melbourne or Sydney. It's already high tide.
It's already up. What are you doing?
Exactly. And we've got another interesting comment here saying, next week I'm meeting David. This is Julianne. Hello,
Yeah.
Julianne.
Hi, Julianne.
The next step, I can't wait because everyone is leaving Melbourne to Queensland. I want to buy my first investment ASAP. High five. Awesome work, Julianne. And I think you're her coach, Charmaine, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I am coaching Julianne. So we've got a borrowing capacity and we're in the process of looking for you, Julianne. So once I find something, I'll let you know. When George finds you something, I'll let you know.
Yes, now that I'm feeling better, it's going to get better. But I'm going to go out there and fight these developers every week because they don't want to give me their properties, right? They're all trying to keep them. But we are finding some stuff. And, because I know a lot of developers, sometimes developers will be going, maybe going through divorce or going through some sort of crisis and they want to get rid of property quietly. They'll come up to us and say, George, here's these properties, take them off our hands, and we'll just take them, which is great. Which is excellent. Thanks. So exciting. It is very exciting.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. So there you go. So that's the show for tonight. Now, I forgot to talk about my birthday again. I'm going to talk about it. So what I'm doing, guys, is this what I'm doing. I'm doing a special. If you're watching this now, I'm going to be giving away 5 scholarships in November.
Wow. That's exciting. Tell us more, George.
Hey.
Tell us more about these scholarships.
My overarching goal, our goal as a company, as a team, is to empower 10,000 Australians to create wealth through investing in properties in my costing method.
That's right.
And now, this is not there. These scholarships aren't for the super rich, right? So if you're earning $300,000, $400,000 a year, you're not going to qualify for this scholarship. But what I want to do is I want to help those people that are borderline.
Mm.
You know, people that aren't sure if they can afford, if they've got enough deposit, if they can afford it. Younger people still living with their parents, who've got parents who want to go guarantor. You know, people like that, I want to give a helping hand. And what I'm doing is I'm giving away 5 of these scholarships. So what it's going to be a massive saving. I'm not going to do it for free because otherwise they're not going to pay attention. But it's going to be practically for free. I'm practically giving them away. So I'm going to be giving away thousands of dollars worth. You know, I'm going to be giving away probably around $50,000 worth of scholarships over the next month.
Fantastic.
So if anyone's interested in talking to one of our team about a scholarship, type in hashtag
Wealth call.
Wealth Call. There you go. Thank you.
Yep.
The scholarship. I wouldn't even know how to spell that.
Too hard to spell, George. If it's just hashtag wealth call.
Yeah. So guys, if you're watching on Facebook, type in hashtag Wealth Call. Look, even if you're a member of Positive Property and you think of a relative, a family member that wants to take advantage of scholarship, let me know, because I really want to get 5 people that are borderline, and in 12 months' time, help them be successful investors in property. And I want to do a case study. I want to record their journey. I'm going to get a film crew to record their journey to give other people inspiration that this can be done. We've had so many people that have joined our program, and some people with zero deposit that now have got 3 or 4 properties. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
One guy, he's got over $1 million worth of property now, and he started with zero deposit. So it's pretty exciting, those sort of stories.
Yeah, I've got a client that I'm coaching, and she'd gone to over 8 different mortgage managers, couldn't get lending, and we've been able to get her lending, which has been amazing. It's really changed her life.
Chris said, "Love it. I'll get my cousins on board." Absolutely. I really want to give away the scholarships because from now on, I'm going to be doing this every year. I'm only giving away 5.
Yeah.
That's it. And once I hit 5, that's all, because I can't give all my stuff away for free.
No.
But every November, for the rest of this company's history, I'm going to be giving away 5 scholarships. That's my promise.
All right. So get in there, everyone. Hashtag wealth call if you're interested.
Yep. Hashtag wealth call. If you're on the podcast, if you listen to us on the podcast, you're going to have to come to Facebook and type in Australian Property Chat or Positive Property and find us there, and just post there, do a comment, and we'll be able to find you.
Yeah,
that's But otherwise, that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to be doing it every year. What we're doing, this year also, we're building a school in Cambodia, which is pretty exciting.
Yes, I love this.
And so, when it comes to building schooling or scholarships, we want to be the company that does give, because at the end of the day, I think our overarching goal is to build a better world.
Correct. It's one of our values as a company.
That's right.
No
November.
George November.
Chris, you're hilarious.
I'll have to get that on a bumper sticker for you, George.
I love it. Jovember. Yes, that's right. I've already got a mo. I'm not going to shave off the rest, though. So there you go. So that's what we're doing November's from now on. I'd like to just thank everyone for coming and watching us.
Yeah.
It's been great. Now we're going to be going off and joining our team in the SHERP.
Yeah.
What we do for all our members, people that join our program, is we have weekly calls where we coach them and get them onto the next step of their investing journey, step by step. And the reason we call it SHERP is because when you're buying investment property or building a multi-million-dollar investment property portfolio, you're climbing Mount Everest.
It feels that way sometimes.
You know what? And if you don't know what you're doing and you're trying to climb Mount Everest, you might be able to slip down and die or run out of oxygen or whatever. But if you've got the Sherpa, and we're the Sherpas.
So we carry the load.
Right, we carry your load and help, and we give you a hand up.
Encourage you. You can do it.
That's right. We don't carry you up there. We help you do it yourself, but we encourage you and get you up there, and that's the key, right? And we give you the right team around you. That's what it's all about. And I really think it's exciting that you can get yourself, a Sherp and do that. So that's what's happening, guys. Yeah. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Next week, I'm going to be having a very interesting birthday sort of session. And I'm going to be giving people an example of what, imagine if you had a borrowing capacity of like 800,000. I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios of what you can do with it and how you can make millions of dollars out of it.
Ooh, fantastic.
That's what I'm going to do. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm going to go through some real life examples and I'm going to be drawing and showing you how to do this. So guys, thank you so much. Remember, we're here every Thursday night at 6:05 Australian Central Time, 6:35 Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Correct.
We're going to go join our SHRP. Thank you, Charmaine, so much. I'll see you there.
Thank you so much. See everybody.
Thank you for listening. I'm grateful for all our listeners around the world. If you found this podcast valuable, please share with someone that might find this useful, and please join our tribe of purpose-driven investors, increasing income and impact in our Facebook group, Positive Property. Please note, with a multi-million-dollar property portfolio and a passive income, I've become incredibly successful in investing in property. The fact of it is, however, many people may find investing in property challenging. It's not easy, and it takes a lot of hard work. However, becoming educated to make an informed decision and having the right advisors gives you the tools you need to succeed. The most important part of this formula, however, is to actually take action and apply that knowledge. It is important to understand the information I share is of a general nature only and is not taking into account your unique circumstances. If you're considering investing in any asset class, you need to seek the advice of an independent professional advisor who will be able to look at your specific situation. Be sure your advisor has actually achieved the kind of results you're seeking. Many won't have, so beware. We've taken great care putting those educational resources together. We'd be surprised if you didn't find any errors or omissions. If you do, our legal team says we have to say we're not responsible for those. In fact, as with all things, even your success, we're not responsible. That responsibility always has and always will come down to you and the actions you take. We're passionate about supporting you in that process and helping you increase your ability to create wealth, live the life you desire, and provide all the things you dream of for you and your family.